Hello everybody. For this video I just want to go through and talk about scanning, go over how to scan. For this one I'm using the Epson Scan software with an Epson V850 scanner. So I just want to talk a little bit about scanning to begin with. You know, if you're going to work with photos and prints, it's a good idea to get a dust remover like one of these, some of these brushes to be able to clean off dust, lint, as much that we can clean off before we scan it will save us a lot of time fixing and restoring these photos that we're working with. So like I said, it's a good idea to get one of these. It's also a good idea to clean your glass. One thing about that, when you clean a scanner's glass, you want to make sure that you're spraying the cleaner on a rag and wiping the glass off as opposed to spraying the cleaner directly on the glass. What can happen is if you spray it on the glass, you can actually leak the cleaner onto the underside or make problems that you can't clean up on the inside. So it's a good idea to clean your glass and clean it the right way. Now to get into some of the scanning, what we're looking at here is the Epson Scan software. I've just downloaded it. It's a free utility made for Epson scanners. Most Epson scanners will use this. If you have a different brand scanner, they should have some of the same features that we'll cover in this little video. So when I first start it up, it wants to come up in this full auto mode. So the first thing we want to do is we want to change it from that full auto mode to the professional mode. If you've got an advanced mode, most scanning software will have the basic edition mode and then your little advanced or professional mode. So you can see as I bring mine up, it's set right here. And the main areas we're going to work with are the document type, film type, and resolution. We won't really worry about some of this other stuff. So the first thing we're looking at is document type. So film, if you've got a film negative or you've got a slide, that's what you're going to work with. In this case, you know, if you've got film, you've got positive film, that would be your slide. Color negative or a black and white negative would be a 35 millimeter negative strip, usually some kind of film negative that came with your photo prints. In this case, we're actually going to do a print. So I've got a print loaded in the scanner. So we're going to set that to reflective. And that'll show you a little bit of the details of what we're doing. So we want it to be a photo on this option here. We won't really worry about the document table is pretty much set. There's nothing we can change there. So for this, if you're doing, once again, a print, you just want it to be on reflective. And we may adjust this DPI later. This is pretty high DPI, so this is going to take for a long time to scan. And that's more for slide scanning, which I did yesterday. So now I've got the basics set up. I'm going to go ahead and hit preview, and that's going to connect to the scanner and give us a preview image that we can then draw our crop marks around. Okay, so right now you're seeing the document size is 8.5 by 11.7. So that's the whole scanning bed. If I click and drag a little marquee or rectangle around this, and sometimes we want to go a little bit bigger than the photograph itself, you can see that that changes the size. So here I can't really control the size. Some scanners will actually let you change the input size and the output size so you can get an enlargement right there. But for us, we're going to have to use the resolution. Now, like I said before, 3200 is quite a bit high. And that would be something for like a slide, which is basically about 1.5 inches by 2 inches or so. In this case, I don't think we'll need to go quite 3200 because maybe we want to just double this size. So if I want to make an 8 by 12 here, remember that print resolution, the ideal resolution is 300 dpi. So what happens is, if I want to double the size, I need to double the resolution. So 600 would allow me to double it. And if we're doing any type of photo restoration, you may even want to go bigger than that. So I could go 1200. And the reason that we want to go bigger is so we have more pixels to work with, more image to work with that we can zoom in closer, work up really close to restore these photos, and then zoom out or do a lower resolution to cover some of our mistakes. So anytime you're doing photo restoration, you want to go a bit higher than you want to print. As a rule of thumb, 300 dpi is the ideal print resolution if we were doing a print 4x6. So like I said, if you want to double the size, the physical size here, you're basically looking at double the resolution. And just in case, I could add a couple hundred extra pixels, maybe go 800, or like I said, 1200 dpi. Now if I do go 1200, it might take some time, so let's try 1000 dpi and see how that comes out. Once you've got your film area cropped and ready to go, so we've drawn our marquee around our image right here, and if you actually have more, you can come in and delete those or select different ones. If I had multiple images, I could drag multiple marquees and have multiple scans come in. So now I'm ready to scan. All I have to do is hit the scan button here, and now it's going to give me a dialog box that says where do I want to scan it. So I've got a folder called Fill Scans. I've already scanned some in yesterday, so it will just continue adding the next number on that list. I did 10 pictures yesterday, so this will just start out at 11. Or I could reset that. I could pick a different folder. I could pick a different format. But I'm going to stick with JPEG. JPEGs work fairly well for this. And click OK. And now it's going to go through and scan. Usually you'll get a progress bar that shows where you're at. And if we were doing multiple scans, it would tell us here 1 of 12 or 1 of 10. Like I said, when I did 10 slides yesterday, it gave me just the progress bar of how that works. So that's scanning in a nutshell. Once again, the points I want to remind you guys about is that scan in at a high resolution. If you don't scan in at the right resolution, then you can do a lot of work and it will be a waste of your time. You'll have to come back and start over. So the rule with any pixel-based image, any Photoshop image, anything that we're scanning like this that's a photograph, is you can make them smaller, but you can't increase that size after that initial scan, after that initial time that you take the photograph itself. There's no way to increase that resolution or quality. You may see videos on TV or in Hollywood where they enhance the video. That just doesn't happen. It has to be captured at the initial time you scan or take a photograph. So, you know, that resolution is very dependent. If you're going to do enlargements, you know, you want to make sure you're doubling your resolution if you want to double your size. If you need to triple that, you need to triple the size, then you would triple that resolution. And once again, the ideal resolution for print quality is 300 dpi. So if we needed to triple the size here, maybe we're doing a 12 by 18, then we would need to take 300 times 3 and get at least 900 dpi in here.